Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another episode of our Raw Reaction series, specifically joining you at 8 a.m. every morning, other than tomorrow. There won't be a show tomorrow on Saturday. It's the day that I'm taking off. There will still be a show on match day on Monday, just because it's it's a week game, even though it's technically a weekend game. But there will not be a show tomorrow. That's the day I'm taking off this week, so just be warned. But thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for tuning in this whole week. It's been a really, really good week of shows, despite the fact that it's international football and we've not had loads to talk about. We've had quite a few stories that we've gone through, and I've enjoyed doing the Q&As, of course, to an extended level as well. But we need some more Arsenal in our lives, and thankfully it's coming back very, very soon. Good morning to everybody joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good and well. Matt G getting in there early this morning. Fantastic to see. Startvik, Stevie, Paul, Harvey, Martin, Jose. Good morning to you guys. Sean, Rich, Peeny Ween, Mike. Good morning, guys. Kevin, Ryan, Omar joining us as well. Getting in there on a morning show, Omar. Ridiculous. Bradley, Afsar, Marcus. Good morning to you guys. Hope you're doing good. Steve, Alexander, Thracian, and plenty more of you as well. Good morning to Vinny and to Daniel. We've got Kay, we've got Weedy, we've got Marcus. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Really, really interesting stuff coming through from the press conference yesterday. If you want to go and watch that press conference, you can go and watch it on the Arsenal Way. So link, as always, is in my link tree in the description, so you can go and check that out there. It was a really good show last night on Lee Judge's channel with myself and Kev Campbell and Dan and Lee, talking about the Palace game, Saliba, and a lot more. So apologies there was no show last night. Unfortunately, the youth show has been postponed to next week because Kev had some stuff come up. So we're going to be doing that next week, which is fine. But do go check out the show with Lee from last night. It was a really, really good chat ahead of the Crystal Palace match. And of course, if you want to watch press conference, go back and watch it on the Arsenal Way. And you'll be able to join me at 10 a.m. this morning as well, which is really good too. What isn't really good, unfortunately, is that Arsenal were knocked out of the Champions League at the quarterfinal stage to Wolfsburg yesterday. Unfortunately, the girls couldn't bring it back and take us to a semi-final, but they put in a really good effort, and they're very unlucky, actually. Hitting the post and crossbar in such quick succession really could have changed the game if any of those chances had been put away. And conceding early, I think, was ultimately a really damaging moment, especially when you're playing away from home. But Wolfsburg are a very, very good side. Their women's team is contextually far better than their men's team. So they did well to get as far as the quarterfinals, last English team to get knocked out of the competition. But fingers crossed now Wolfsburg can go all the way, because, then we can claim we were knocked out by the team that won the competition. So that's where we are with that. But it's a shame, but it is what it is. But well done, girls. Maybe we can bring it home next year. Gabriel has also, in more positive news, confirms that he has now, with his other half, of course, because she's very important to this process, confirmed the birth of his first child. So a massive congratulations to Gabrielle. We wish you the absolute best, and your little one as well. You know what was really refreshing to see on his Instagram post? No pictures of the baby. Fair play. There's always kind of this big pressure on people that are in the public domain to show off their children, and there's part of me that always thinks, do they need to? Can they not have any part of their lives that's secret? So fair play to Gabriel for doing that. If he chooses to change his mind on a later date, fair enough, it's his choice. But the fact that he didn't, I thought, was a really humbling moment. So fair play to Gabrielle, and we wish you the absolute best. But make sure you're ready for Monday, mate. That's all I'm going to say. Make sure you're ready for Monday. You can enjoy being a dad over the weekend. Football on Monday. Speaking of dads, I don't know how I'm going to segue into that, but the two older Arsenal players, Mikel Arteta, Santi Cazorla, in the press conference yesterday, Mikel Arteta confirms that he has had no conversation at all with the situation that Santi Cazorla could return, and certainly a situation where he would return as a coach. I always thought this was a little bit preemptive when you consider that he's not, I believe, stopped playing yet. I know that there might be negotiations going on between Santi and Arteta and the situation where he could return, but it was always a bit odd that story broke over the week. I didn't really give it too much attention because I didn't think there was too much gravitas to it. And Arteta confirmed yesterday in his press conference that there has been no discussions. The last time that Santi has spoken to Arteta was on his birthday to wish him a happy birthday. So unfortunately, nothing's. But I would love to see it happen. I'd love to see Santi back, but at the moment, there's nothing in that whatsoever. Patrick Vieira, however, has confirmed that both Wilfried Zaha and Michael Elise are still in the treatment room. There is an opportunity that they could both be available for the game on Monday, but the fact that they're still not training yet doesn't bode particularly well. The fact that the game is on Monday may help them significantly, but at the moment, both of them are not looking all that available, but that could change between now and Monday. Speaking of players that may not be available, Takahiro Tomiyasu, still uncertain about his fitness. Arteta was asked about his fitness, and he said, I think it will be close. He's been training more and more. He has the boys back now, so he will be joining some sessions this week. Let's see how it is. When he was asked about why the recovery and why it's taken longer than expected, he said because he had a recurring injury, but in the other calf, which was strange and difficult to predict. He's been through a lot in the last 2 years of all of the COVID and the amount of games he's played. The transition to a different league with the intensity is completely different. So we can find the right reasons and hopefully won't go through that situation again, because especially for him, it's been tough. And, you know, it's going to be great to get him back. Cedric has been really good in his stead, but we know that Tomiyasu can bring us some really consistent performances, and we would have really benefited from him in the squad over the last few weeks. Speaking of other players that should hopefully be returning between now and the game on Monday, Bukayo Saka's fitness also looks positive. He said Bukayo is feeling good. He's training today, and hopefully if he was still feeling as he was yesterday, then hopefully he'll get into the team. He said that Aaron Ramsdale is a doubt. He's still not feeling great. He hasn't trained yet, so we don't know what he will be able to do on Monday. We can expect that Bernd Leno, I think, is probably going to start the game. We already knew that. It was this issue that he had with his hip that was always going to be a 3 to 4 week problem. He's probably going to miss this game. He's probably going to miss the Southampton game and the Brighton game as well, and then be back for some really important fixtures as we head towards the end of the season. And our final story is on William Saliba. Arteta was asked about William Saliba. I was waiting for the question to be asked. He said, I haven't spoken to him since then, when he made his debut. But obviously, we are really aware of what he is doing and how he is developing. He's our player, and we are really happy with the decision that we made. He is getting the minutes, and the exposure, responsibility, and the growth at his age was not something we could guarantee here this season. And it makes a lot of sense what is happening with him, and we are glad to see the way he is improving. Look, I was a little bit surprised, be it from me to turn around and say that this is bad, but I found it a bit odd that no contact's been made since he made his debut in the French team. If that was me, and you know, you got a player whose future is by no means guaranteed, and you want to show them that you've got, you know, they've got your full backing and they're looking forward to having you back, I would be, without a shadow of a doubt, ringing him up. Congratulations, fantastic stuff. You're on the right path, all of those things. So I did find it a bit weird that he's not spoken to him since that moment, but it's his choice. I just hope it doesn't come back to bite us in the summer. And a headline story of the day is that Yuri Tielemans' price is supposedly, according to the Telegraph, significantly plummeted, and he would be available for around £20 million in the summer, which seems madness considering he had a price tag of about 80 million not so long ago. So if Arsenal want to get hold of a very solid player before the end of the transfer window for their midfield, Tielemans for 20 million quid seems an absolute steal. And I look forward to seeing plenty of mad stories about this possible mad deal in the summer. But that completes all of today's news. Let us know your comments in the comment section below. And if you're joining us live, get your questions ready, because we're going to go through them in the chat box now. Okay. Apologies, by the way. I feel like I'm getting, not a cold, but you know that period where you're feeling a little stuffy. By the way, I'm probably putting the dustiest polo shirt, which is maybe another reason why I'm getting the TGT sneezes. So apologies if I do have to drop a TGT sneeze at some point. Sneeze at some point during the rest of the show. Jose says, hi, Tom. Are you going to watch the World Cup draw today? I am indeed, Jose. It is during my shift. I will be working, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of reaction to that and more. I know Kai Karnak is covering it for Football.London. So there's plenty that's going to be coming out over there. So make sure you're watching all of that good stuff. Sarvik says, what's the ceiling and scope for Tielemans to further improve his abilities? I suppose that's one for the most significant factors in the decision to sign him. I think he can improve in a lot of areas at Arsenal. I think quickness of thought is going to be a big thing at Arsenal. Pressures, energy, pressing, all of that stuff is going to have to improve at Arsenal. But his intelligence on the ball is still very, very good. You know, his shooting from distance is good. His passing, his progression is good. His on-the-ball dribbling is good. However, some of his decision-making needs to be better. So there can definitely be plenty of stuff. Penny Williams says Tielemans is probably an April Fool's joke. I did consider doing an April Fool's this morning, but the problem is that people take so much of what I say so literally. I just couldn't do it. So, yeah, no April Fool's joke from me this morning, but do be on the lookout, you know, for some dodgy news dropping before 12 a.m. today, especially elsewhere and abroad, because, you know, the times will be different in the West. So prepare yourselves for some crazy stories, because there should be April Fools is always one to fool most people. But I didn't want to be one of those people, especially because I'm one of the only Arsenal creators that does a morning show. But yeah, you know, I didn't want to give you any kind of bad shocks. I did discuss yesterday doing like, should we open with it being the daily Red Bull Salzburg news? I debated doing that, but no, we're not gonna. I didn't want to fool you. Weedy says, is there any traction with this link to signing? I don't know who that is. As one of the actually exciting, should it be true to straight into the team? You always throw these names, and I have no idea who some of these people are. So apologies, but I don't know who that is. Byron says, morning, boys and girls, friends, foes, fellow Gooners, and of course, morning to you, Tom. Good morning to you, Byron. Hope you're doing good. Spaceman Trooper says, would you rather Joao Felix and Calvert-Lewin or Nunez and Gakpo? Nunez and Gakpo. Bring me Nunez and bring me Gakpo. That's what I'd want to see at the club. Social says, Per looks after the kids. Would not have spoken to him. No, because I think Saliba is a senior player and part of the senior squads now and is considered one of those senior players. So no, I don't think so. If anyone, it would have been Edu or Ben Napper. They're the ones that maybe would have spoken to them. I would have liked to have seen someone ask Arteta when was the last time he spoke to him, because I think that's a really important question to ask. But I found it weird that, you know, that he didn't speak to him after the game. Very, very strange indeed. Let's go to Stephen, who says, Tom, do you think that we are already in discussions with players and agents? Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Conversations, negotiations going on all the time. Edu met with Jonathan David's agent in December. He will be meeting and speaking with agents throughout the season. The difficulty for Arsenal is that, you know, we haven't got any guarantees of Champions League football yet, which makes certain parts of negotiations pretty tricky. So, yeah, but we will be in discussions with players without a shadow of a doubt. Rick says, given that Nunez speaks Spanish too, the left side combinations can be very fluid with Martinelli and him. But I prefer Gakpo, who just seems more Polish, seems a more polished candidate. Look, I think with Martinelli, wouldn't he be speaking Portuguese rather than Spanish? I know that Uruguayans speak Spanish. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that. But yeah. Oh, where does he play? Where does Nunez play? Portugal. So you'd hope maybe he picks up some of the language. I see what you're saying. The Spanish really threw me off. But yeah, Martinelli, we'll hopefully be able to communicate with him very easily. Let's go to Navarro says, Tom, any way to fix a sleep schedule? It's 10 a.m. right now. Yeah, go to bed earlier. Count sheep. You know, set your body clock better. Stop looking at your phone. Turn your devices off well ahead. Don't look at your phone an hour before your intention is to go to sleep. That's the best advice that I can give you. Get rid of that blue light. It will help you to no end. JDV says, Tom, do you, in football terms, hate a stadium? For me, I hate Goodison Park. It's not a fortress, and yet we get beat there. I still remember the 3-0, and I want to beat them before they go to their new stadium. Do I hate any stadiums? I hate Spurs' new ground because it's a toilet bowl, and for obvious reasons. I hate Old Trafford. I hate Stamford Bridge. Do I hate any other stadiums? I hate Turf Moor. I know why, but I hate Vicarage Road as well. I don't know why, but I do. There's some just irrational hatreds of certain stadiums out there. So yes, definitely just don't like certain grounds. Vinny says, which Arsenal youngster at the club has the highest ceiling? I think it's going to be close between Charlie Patino and Brooke Norton-Cuffy from, Hale End at the moment. You've got other players, Salah Adee, Mika Bieref, Amari Hutchinson, Tim Akinola, of course, as well. You've got Omar Rekic coming through, Arthur Okonkwo and Carl Hine are very interesting players also. So, yeah, look, I think that I think we're in a situation where we've got so much talent that you can't really pinpoint one name, Vinny, which is a great, great place to be in. Namdi says, don't Arsenal have a strict English-speaking dressing room? I don't know. I don't think so. I found that very odd if that was the case because, they're improving their language skills all the time. But as far as I'm aware, that's not true. Do let me know where you heard that from. Omar says, any good wishes to us fasting? Of course, Omar. I do wish you the absolute best because you're doing something that I certainly couldn't do. Even with a wedding coming up, I don't think I could commit to that. So fair play if you are indeed fasting, and good luck with that. I'm sure it's a very difficult thing to do. It's very committed indeed. Sasha says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous do you feel about the Palace game? I have the horrible feeling Vieira may get something from the game. I hope I'm wrong. I think that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 3 in terms of nerves. I'm actually feeling pretty confident about the game. I'm feeling confident about Arsenal. It's a really nice place to be right now when you can be confident about Arsenal. NK says, apart from Holland, who would be the best signing we could make of players not going to the World Cup? Great question. Players not going to the World Cup. Let me just have a quick look. Who are the qualified teams? That's a really fantastic question. Let's have a quick check on who has and who hasn't qualified. We've got from Europe, Germany, Denmark, France, Belgium, Croatia, Spain, Serbia, England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal. I mean, you instantly go to Italy and you think Locatelli, you think Bastoni, Raspadori, you think, who else from Italy's team would you love to sign? I'm sure there's loads that people are screaming into their microphones or their screens, and I'm not thinking of. Verratti, Chiesa. There's a fair few. Donnarumma, of course, although we've got Ramsdale. Do we really need him? Sweden didn't qualify. Svanberg is a good shout from Sweden as well. Austria didn't qualify. David Alaba, I would have loved to have seen. Looking down the list, anyone else that hasn't qualified that I'm looking for? Did Wales qualify? They might still qualify because I'll be looking at, some of their young talent. There's a few players coming through there that's quite good. Scotland are yet to qualify as well, of course, because of the Ukraine situation. So there's a few nations on there. Did Hungary qualify? Dominic Szoboszlai doesn't look like he's there. So obviously he would be on my list as well. So there's a fair few players. If we go into the African nations, Nigeria obviously didn't qualify. So you look at Victor Osimhen as someone who could possibly do it. Of the African team, Senegal, Cameroon, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, Mohamed Salah, of course, is a huge one. From where else in Africa? Morocco have qualified. Tunisia, wow, that's a big, big plus for them. Ghana, of course. Ivory Coast didn't qualify, it seems, unless they're still to 3 rounds knockouts, leaves us with 5 teams that represent Africa. Ivory Coast, so no. Wilfried Zaha won't be there, of course. Frank Kessié at AC Milan, that's moving to Barcelona, in fairness, as well. North American teams, Canada, Mexico, USA, and Costa Rica. But Costa Rica going to an inter-confederation playoff against New Zealand. Wow, that's quite incredible. Asia, South Korea, Iran, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Australia, or the United Arab Emirates will also go into that inter-confederation playoff. OFC, the winners of the 2 of the 4 teams that went head-to-head to see who would progress, and that's New Zealand. So Australia, Costa Rica. Australia will play the United Arab Emirates. They will play the United Arab Emirates, and then the winner of that will play Peru. Well, we got to get behind Peru. I'm sorry for our Australian listeners and our UAE listeners, but I'll be behind Peru personally because, my good friend Diego Montalvan, who's helped us out with a lot of shows, looking at some Peruvian players. That's who I'm going to be backing. I'm trying to think of Australian friends. I don't really have many. I'm sure I have a fair few listeners. But from a personal standpoint, I suppose one of my other half's best friends is Australian, so there's a link there. But from Peru perspective, I think it'd be great to see them qualify in an era of Peruvian football where they don't have Pizarro, they don't have Jefferson Farfan, Carrillo, so yeah, absolutely. There's loads. And a massive congratulations to Canada, of course, who did. Colombia didn't qualify. That's a big one. Huge nation that did not make it to the World Cup either. Plenty of teams as well that didn't make it through. Alex Iwobi. Oh, for goodness sake. Weedy, you're getting on my nerves now. Just gonna put that out there. Jake says, US team is improving. Don't want to see Pulisic, though. Why don't you want to see Pulisic? Just because he's a Chelsea player. Like, I try and separate international football at times. I love watching North American teams improve. Canada in particular, a huge, big kind of interest of mine. I know a couple of the Canadian international players now from doing interviews with a few of them. And always it's great to see the US men's national team improve, just removing that stigma of United States soccer. So there you go. Jake says the US team is improving. Don't want to see I've already read that. I don't know what I'm doing. Sean says 36 years since Canada has been to a World Cup. It's been great feeling here, Tom. I know how great of a feeling it's been because Moss has been absolutely buzzing. Our good friend Moss has been absolutely over the moon. David says Tyler Adams, definitely a player to keep your eyes on, people. Maximius Ibra hasn't played at the World Cup since 2006. Wow, that is huge. That's massive. Byron, I can imagine being South African and struggling to see South Africa going through the tournaments is a shame. So always remember the South African World Cup was one of the best World Cups. It was one of the best experiences of my childhood. So I was only how we're going to make people feel old, 16 at that 2010 World Cup. So what an amazing tournament. And seeing Spain win it, that in itself was great because my affiliation to the Spanish national team has always been there. So that was also great. But now we're in a situation where England can have a really good chance at winning a tournament and really annoy everyone with our It's Coming Home song, which I know annoys absolutely every other nation other than England. It's just the way that it goes. It's just how it is. But we love it. And we kind of love that it winds everyone else up as well. We are going to wrap things up there, people. Sorry for the slightly shorter show, but I'm starting work a bit earlier this morning. There will be a Arsenal Way at 10 a.m. As per. So I look forward to bringing you that show over on that channel a little bit later on today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys as it always is. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, up the Arsenal.